you like road trips, like long road trips? Good, lots of hands. Okay. So when you're on the road, you're going to notice that every now and then there is a rest area. A rest area. Raise your hand if you utilize rest areas from time to time, right? So I don't know about you, but I don't use them very often, but, and only really on long road trips. But I tend to want a rest area when my car has enough gas, right? Perhaps when we last stopped for gas, we got some food or coffee or snacks and tiny tanks strikes again and I gotta go to the rest area. So you pull into the rest area and you get ready to exit your car for a little stretch and a bio break. But there's something else that I insist that we do before we get out of the car, and that is to use a bag and gather up the trash. So whatever wrappers that may have been on the food or napkins or empty cups. It's just really time to get rid of anything we don't need in the car beyond this spot. So, Kelsey, I just visited my daughter last weekend, and we talked about this very ritual while we were there. I would hold up a bag and say, "Look, we have a bag." And she would say, "Yep, and we got to put trash in it." That's right. It's just this little ritual. She knows it's time to clean out the car. So, when we've gathered everything up, it's all in the bag. We exit the car, we head to the trash can, and the bathroom to get rid of waste on every level. Everything has served us perfectly, and now it's time to release anything we don't want to go down the road any further. So I called my lesson today the rest area because that is what I want us to do today. I want us to all pause and clean out our cars symbolically. Here at the end of this year, we've been driving together on this spiritual road trip in the spiritual lane of life all year. And we all know how to release on a human level appropriately. When we were very young, we were taught not to litter, gather everything up, put it in the right place, dispose of the waste in the right way. And I can imagine right now, at the end of this long leg of the trip that we've been on, you have some things that you would like to be done with. Because we aren't talking about napkins and empty cups in our symbolic clean out. But what about releasing on a spiritual level? We talked about this in Sacred Cup a little less than a year ago during our last white stone ceremony at the beginning of 2025. If you were here, we identified a word that would guide us through the road trip we were going to take together. And I've hung this colorful poster up here that we made that day, almost a year ago. And I'm sure if you were with us, you can see the word that you wrote up here. And if you weren't with us last January, you might want to take a peek at these words and see what your spiritual family members identified as a guiding word for this year. And by the way, next Sunday we're going to do this again. So we're going to start afresh with a new word. But first, here we are at the rest area at the end of our journey of 2025, focused on these words. So what I invite you to do is take a look at your word, or if you weren't here, try to remember what your intentions, maybe your New Year's resolutions, whatever, however way you do it, might have been as you kind of stepped bravely into this year 12 months ago. You know, if you're like me, you can see kind of where this road of life took you into situations and relationships and decision-making moments and opportunities where this word came into play. You know, maybe you allowed your intended word or your resolutions to guide you without a doubt, and you intensified your feeling of that word that you intended. But because we're all human, I suspect that there are memories you have that conflict with that word, like you didn't quite live up to it, right? There may be memories where this word was nowhere to be found. So I'm going to share my own example. So my word up there that I chose is the word faith. So my intention this year was to step into greater faith as I guided us as a community on our road trip. I wanted to kind of feel that deep trust in my soul and allow it to kind of choose for me, lead me to lessons that would make a difference to all of us, and a summer that would be transformational and greater connections with our life here at the center. But I also wanted faith to lead me in my relationships and situations beyond ministry, right? So, one example on a personal level that many of you were aware of, I summoned my faith and I asked Spirit for another dog. If you remember, my Maisie was going deaf. And we talked about maybe we should get a hearing dog to help her. And I just allowed my inner guidance to take all of the steps necessary to find little Abby and rescue her out of that breeding situation she was in. And Terry and I prayed and we visioned for a Cavalier rescue dog, and faith led us to her. I deeply believe that. And here at the center in my ministry, this year I stepped away. You may not have even known, but I stepped away from following any of the organization's themes and lesson suggestions for any given Sunday. And I followed my faith in creating topics that we covered this past year. Our Summer of Abundance, that idea, that content kind of rose out of the faith that I put in Spirit to guide us. And I can clearly see where faith grew in my year of intentional focus, professionally and personally. But I can also see moments where the opposite of faith was still present in my life. I can see times when I doubted myself and I didn't follow my own North Star, so to speak. I can remember situations where fear clouded my thinking and obscured that inner voice within me. Because no matter what intentions we set, no matter what word we write up there, we are given many, many, many opportunities to choose again and again and again with free will to choose our word of intention or allow another choice to be made. Can you relate to that? Can you look at those words and see it? So as we pause here at the rest area on our road trip of life, I personally want to release the power behind any of my memories where faith did not step forward and guide me. I want to release the wrappers of those moments and not carry that self-doubt with me on the next part of my journey. I want to kind of loosen my grip on the relationships with people who I can clearly see diminish my connection with my spiritual power. I want to let go of any habitual thoughts or choices that block me from being my highest self. All those empty cups, they got to go. So today is all about all of us doing that together. It's time because we're about to take off on another leg of our life journey. And guess what? The road is going to lead to similar situations and relationships and settings, and we can allow ourselves to show up differently, or we can be the same as we come around again. And when we show up differently, guess what happens? New pathways open up for us. New roads lead to different experiences and opportunities. Are you ready for that? Because next week we're going to talk about how we want to show up and choose differently. So let's clean out our car today. And then we're going to be ready to go. And I know that our souls are ready to do that because we're here together in this moment. Your soul had you show up today for this experience. So let me talk a little bit about releasing into Spirit. So our souls know how to release things to a higher power. But let me remind you, releasing always involves one of nature's elements: earth, air, fire, or water. Because God is nature. When something dies or is broken, we instinctively release it to Spirit. So when we use God as earth, we surrender in release when we bury things. We surrender seeds to the divine when we plant them. We bury our dead, yes, but we also bury treasure or secrets or ashes. Spiritual release into the earth is turning it over to God. When we surrender to God as air, we release our words into the unseen element of lighter energy. Before I was environmentally aware, I used to make wishes and write prayers and on balloons and let them go up into the air. But praying in general is releasing our thoughts and our words into air. When we meditate, we're releasing into the unseen, turning it over to God as the element of air. And then there's fire. Randy and I were just talking about this. Many churches use a burning bowl for this annual ritual where the things we want to release are literally burned. But we can use God as fire for releasing when we pray and we burn a candle. When we toss our worries into a bonfire, humanity of old used to surrender sacrifices to fire. Somehow we know that we can release to God through fire. But today is about water. Most religious traditions have understood the element of water as the great purifier, that which washes clean and makes new. All forms of water are compassionate healers, relieving actual and kind of metaphoric thirst. Water in our lives is the power of purification, the healing balm of compassion, and the mystical presence of creativity. Water. It's another means of spiritual release. We have all walked along the beach, releasing our worries into the waves, haven't we? We understand water as a releasing into God. So yeah, our souls know how to release things to spirit by interacting with God in a natural form. It is an ancient ritual that carries power in surrender. So I'm going to invite you into a time of meditation or contemplation. Now, if you're likely to get emotional when you talk about releasing things, there are tissues on every row. So grab one if you need one, because tears are another form of sacred and holy water surrender. So there are tissues. And you have your pieces of paper. Keep them handy. But for now, I invite you to kind of close your eyes or maybe cast them downward so that you can kind of drop into an inner focus. And I'll just give you a moment to just breathe. Breathe deeply and follow your breath in and out as you kind of relax into yourself and into this moment. I want you to think back over the past year. Maybe recall some of your most impactful occurrences. The decisions you made that shifted your life in some big or small way. Perhaps think about any changes that happened in the last 12 months. Remember the things that you are so happy went the way they did. Remember any challenges that you may have faced this year. This was your road trip of life, labeled 2025. It was your journey. You may have shared the path with others, but it was your very own road trip. If you had a white stone word, think about how that word showed up for you this year. The moments where you can clearly see it either guided you or delighted you. And maybe think about the moments where you seem to have forgotten that word and its influence in your day. Now think about the aspects of life that you do not want to carry forward into your next leg of the journey. Ask that highest part of yourself about the year ahead. What is on the horizon? Is there a bigger idea for your life that you can feel calling you in 2026? Is there something you know is ahead for you? Before you head into that newness, what can you set aside to make the path easier for you? Ask that intuitive voice to guide you in knowing what you no longer need, what you can leave behind and release today. Look around in your imagined car that you've driven all this way. What are the wrappers and empty cups that can be left behind to clear space for the new? As you sit in this inner space, I'm going to suggest some things you may want to release. And when something sparks your attention, trust your inner guidance and jot it down on your bigger piece of note paper. Later, you can capture your final words for the ceremony on the smaller paper. But for now, write down what you hear. Let me also say this. I may suggest some things to release that you don't think you're quite ready to release right now. It's okay. Write them down anyway if you ever want to release them. Write them down as an intention that someday you will let them go. Spirit is not attached to the when of your release. It will respond to your desire to be free of whatever it is. So here are some suggestions. Maybe you want to release some old beliefs about yourself. Is it time to let go of ideas that you should somehow be different to be worthy? Release any self-doubt or unworthiness because those thoughts block you from moving forward toward the biggest ideas for your life. Whatever beliefs you've bought into that do not support your growth and unfoldment as a spiritual, vital child of God, whatever you've thought of yourself that isn't loving, nurturing, or kind, it is not true. God knows the truth about you. These limiting ideas have no validity. Let's release them. Maybe it's time to let go of thoughts about the past. Is there a memory that floods you with regret every time you think of it? It's time to let go of the idea that you should have or could have done something differently. The memory and regret no longer serves you and only blocks the road ahead. Are there names of people who hurt your heart when you think of them? Is today the moment to let go of that hurt or that wound, whether it occurred last week, last year, or long ago? These hurts keep your energy anchored in the past. Release that person to God and know only the highest and best for them wherever they may be in their life. Keeping them tucked away in your glove box of memories simply does not serve you. Forgive them, forgive yourself, and release grudges, prejudices, or bitterness and let them go to the divine flow of life. Let go of any idea of failure in your life. Maybe it was a job, maybe it was a relationship, maybe it was a choice you made that didn't work out quite the way you thought it would. Today is the day to write it down and release it. You did the best you could at that moment. It's time to move on and accept that they were lessons that were completed. And let go of the shoulds. I should be more successful or more stable. I should be living in a different situation or a better relationship. My house, car, family, life should look different than it does. All of those shoulds make you love yourself a little bit less, so let them go. Write down the shoulds and release them to spirit. Maybe it's time to release any attachment you have to needing to be right. So often, the need to be right creates a wedge within relationships and blocks love from flowing. Let go and allow people to live differently than you do. Solve problems differently, love differently, think differently. Let go. Maybe there is a story you've been telling yourself that is simply not true. Could something be seen in a different way? And a rigid negative way of telling that story be let go. Maybe it's time to let go of something that is simply not going to happen in this lifetime. Do you have dreams or goals that you've not reached and are likely not to reach in this lifetime? So often we use those things to beat ourselves up or shame ourselves or without even knowing we're doing it. Surrender to Spirit and trust that if it is truly for you, a way will be made. But right now, live the life you're currently living and know you are right where you're supposed to be. And then what about fear? Is there a fear or a habit you have outgrown but keep sustaining anyway? Is there a fear or habit that is keeping you from doing something you really, really want to do? Maybe this is the time to let it go. And again, if you can't let it go in this moment, just set the intention to let it go and give yourself time to find the help you need to let it go. Release any attachment, known or unknown, to the things that keep you maintaining a pattern that keeps you from thriving. Ask yourself, what blocks my peace of mind? What keeps me up at night? What arises in my thoughts that evoke fear or anxiety, keeping me from feeling peace? Could I let it go? Could I write it on my piece of paper? Those are my ideas about what to release to Spirit. You may have many other things in your heart and mind to release now before we finish this year and cross this threshold. You have done the best you can on the human level. Now we want to surrender to God itself and let it go. So as Derek begins to play, I'm going to give you a few minutes to write on your regular paper and capture what to release. And you can transfer things to your small dissolving paper. You can write single words, you can draw pictures, whatever. This is a private piece of paper between you and Spirit. No one will see it, and it will be dissolved as you release it. So put your deepest intentions on it. The act of writing down what you want gone from your life is a very important part of the letting go process. As you write things down, you are inviting Spirit to step into this process with you. And again, there is great power in doing this. And after you've written down whatever you want to let go and release, just spend a few moments in quiet prayer or meditation by way of personal commitment and surrender. And when you sit quietly, I will be able to gauge when we're ready to move on. And if you're watching online, just make your list on any piece of paper you could burn or bury, or maybe a tissue that you can just flush down the toilet. And when you're ready, just sit quietly. And as you breathe deeply in a relaxing way, think for a moment about how you will feel when the things on your paper are gone from your life. Think how still your thoughts and your mind would be if all of that worrying and fear and regret and shame and anger were simply no longer there. Know for yourself that you would have peace in your life if those things were gone. Peace is your birthright. Anything that blocks peace is not of Spirit. So I invite you to join me in this prayer. I invite you to pray with me and take these words as your own. Spirit is in this place right here and right now, and as I know God is in every place and every moment, it is here. The power of God meets us in this moment of high intention as the power that resides in my heart, the power that breathes my body, the source of all life is my source too. I know that this is the time to let go of anything that is holding me back. I know that there is relief in letting go. I know good things fill the vacuum that is left by anything that I release. And I call this moment of release for this community a highly conscious moment, As I dissolve my paper and dissolve the papers of others containing our words and symbols for this ceremony, I am met with the power of the universe. As I release, Spirit meets me in my resolve. Everything I intend to melt away in my experience melts away by the power of my decision. As I declare that I am complete, all attachments to these ideas and people and situations dissolve as the paper swirls away. The peace that I am seeking is my birthright, and in this ritual, I claim it for myself. I am blessed in every way, and as my new year begins, I feel refreshed and empowered, and I know these things for myself, and I know them for each one present in our ceremony today. And so it is. And so this bowl of water serves today as our purification pool of water. And as you watch your paper dissolve, as you commit your concern to the nothingness, let it go deep within you. Feel that sense of release as you depart the bowl, as you walk back to your seat. Say to yourself words like, I am free, I am unlimited, I move on, and the past is gone forever. I surrender this to Spirit right now. As you walk back, breathe lightness into your heart and just witness those behind you coming forward to do the same. So I will open the cleansing and releasing bowl from a quote from Jack Addington. He wrote, "Your needs met." And he wrote this in that writing: "Old habits have no power over me. Conditions have no power over me. Personalities have no power over me. I take dominion. I am whole. I am free. I am complete now and forevermore." And so it is. So when you're ready to come let go of everything into this water, feel free to come forward. Once again, there's great power, and do it one at a time. And just watch your paper swirl away and dissolve. And so it is. So it is. Throw it away. Now you can notice that all of the paper is gone into the nothingness. We have individually and collectively said goodbye to so much. Paul Coelho, author of The Alchemist, says, if you're brave enough to say goodbye, life will reward you with a new hello. So I will close our experience today with some affirmations. So you want to close your eyes and listen with your heart. Let the words sink into your mind and perhaps silently repeat these affirmations to yourself. I see myself as a spiritual being. I am spiritually endowed with everything I will ever need for my eternal ongoing. I lack nothing, and I carry nothing unnecessary for my best life. I live in a universe of life, love, substance, and intelligence. My purpose in being is to express the life, love, substance, and intelligence of spirit within me. I rejoice in the possessions of my life, but I release that which no longer serves me. I rejoice in the people in my life, but I let go of my need to control these relationships, knowing that they come and go in perfect timing. I rejoice in the experiences of my life, but I do not look back and long for the past. I live today, enriched by experiences of the past, but free in the eternal now. I hold no grudges. I do not use the word blame. I am a spiritual being capable and strong in accepting the responsibility of my own person. In the realization of my spiritual self, I find my oneness with God within. I am inwardly guided, outwardly protected. I walk the way of this earth doing that which is mine to do. I am not possessed by anyone or anything. I am free in the warm, healing, loving realization that I am a child of God. I declare this spiritual road trip of 2025 as of Wednesday complete. And so it is.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot